Okay, we saw synthetic division. You'll be quiet. Shh. We saw synthetic division a lot in Algebra 2. This will be a pretty easy lesson for you to start off the final 9 weeks here with. If we had something that said 2x cubed plus 13x squared plus 30x plus 25, and it's all over x plus 3. Okay, your options for this, we're going to do all synthetic division today, but your options for this, you could use both long division and synthetic division. I'm going to show you how they both set up so you'll remember the differences in between them. Long division, what you're dividing by goes outside your box. Remember this from when you were a little tot? And then the stuff on top all goes inside the box. That's one method. The way that I have that set up there, that is long division. It's not what we're doing today. D-I-V-I-S. I don't know.
You're not a English teacher.
Thank you. Alright, what we are looking at today though is synthetic division, and the reason we like synthetic division better is because it only involves the numbers. You don't have to worry about those variables at all. So to set up your synthetic division, your box goes upside down, and then inside the box you're only going to put your coefficients. So there was a 2x cubed, so I'm going to put a 2. 13x squared, so I'm going to put a 13. Remember, we leave a little bit of space underneath there. 30x squared, so I'll put a 30. 30x, so I'll put 30, and then my constant's 25. Now, I know it's been a while since you've done it, but you have looked at this before, and what you need to remember when you make your box for synthetic division, whatever your highest power is, this case we're a cubed, a third power, you have to have every power underneath that. So this is third, second, first, constant. If you're ever missing one, you got to put a 0 in that spot. So if this didn't have an x squared, we would put a 0 there. Remember that? Yeah, that'll be important for us. Now what we put outside the box, we take what we're dividing by, x plus 3, we set that equal to 0 and solve. So that means a negative 3 goes outside my box. Okay? Now to get your whole process started, you're going to drop your very first number all the way down. So I'm going to put a 2 down there. And now all we do throughout this whole thing, whatever number's on the bottom of my box, like where that 2 is, I multiply it by the number on the outside. So here I do 2 times negative 3, put it in the next empty spot. Now I add those. Now I got a number down here, so I do it times negative 3, put it in the next empty spot. Then I add those. Then I do 9 times negative 3, put it in the next empty spot. And I add those. Okay? So we're done with synthetic division now. What we have to do is figure out how to write our answer out of that. Okay? Remember the original problem started off with a 2x cubed, and we divided it by an x. What's x cubed divided by x? X squared. It's 1 power smaller. So my first number here is going to be an x squared. It's always going to be 1 power smaller than what you started with. Started with a cube, so we're going to be squared. So this will be squared first. They go downhill. Squared first. No letters, my constant. And then what's that do? Remainder. Very good. So this will be 2x squared plus 7x plus 9. And when we write our remainder, I always use plus or minus whatever sign it is there. So I'm going to say minus 2 over what you divided by. So that would be your whole answer. X plus 3 on bottom, because that's what we were dividing by. When you were a little tight, remember when you had a remainder, you got to put a big capital R, but you don't get to do that anymore. Pretty easy. Y'all always did pretty good at synthetic division. what you need there? Ready to try another? Okay, this one says 3a cubed minus 2a plus 21 divided by a plus 2. Alright, so anything peculiar about this one? Good. It's got 3a cubed, but then there's not an a squared. So when I put that in my box, I'm going to have to include that 0. So it's going to be 3a cubed, 0a squared, negative 2a, and 21. Okay, outside my box, if it's a plus 2, what's that mean it's going to go outside? Very good, negative 2, because you would take that a plus 2 and set it equal to 0 and solve. Alright, how do we start the whole thing? Good, that first one comes all the way out. 3 times negative 2 goes to the next spot. And then add. Always said in Algebra 2, always said synthetic division is multiply, add, multiply, add. So here I'm ready to add, that's negative 6, and now multiply. And then add. And then multiply. And then add. Alright, so what is my first 3? What power of a will that be? 3a squared, and then they just go downhill, minus 6a. My constant is 10. My remainder is a positive 1, so this time I'm going to put plus 1. That's it. Make it rule.
How much is Rainbow's quantity?
Me and you both, sister.
I've never been there.
Alright, now, this next one, I like this. This one's even a step easier. We don't have to write an answer on this one. Break out what you need on that page. Okay, this one says f of x, so we started this one off in function notation. F of x is equal to x cubed minus 5x squared plus 7x minus 3. And it says use synthetic division to find f of negative 2. Alright, now first off, just know that you could do this without using synthetic division. I'm going to do it synthetically today since that's what our lesson's about. But what this means is we're going to substitute a negative 2 in for the x. So you could do that, just do negative 2 cubed minus 5 times negative 2 squared plus 7 times negative 2 minus 3. You could do that and get an answer. Okay, but since this is the synthetic division lesson, I want us to get more practice on that. So
That's probably out of
and that's fine. You'll get, as long as you don't mess up, you'll get the same right answer. Okay, I'm going to plug I got a 1x cubed, a negative 5x squared, a 7x, and a negative 3. Now this time, that f of negative 2, it's not a factor. It doesn't say x minus 2 or x plus 2 or anything. So I don't have to set it equal to 0. This is when that's a little bit different. They want f of negative 2, so I just put a negative 2 there. I'll always have a lot of people mess up and put the opposite sign on that one. You only put the opposite sign when it's a factor, like x plus something or x minus something. Okay? Alright, now if I'm evaluating for this, for when f is negative 2, you know I'm fixing to get a string of numbers down here, so what's going to be my answer? Which space will hold the answer? Like when I drop this 1 down, is that going to be the answer? Oh, I thought you were fixing to tell me, Devin. Where will my answers show up in this? I've done it before. Come on. You said the 1's not going to be the answer. It'll be in the remainder spot. Very good, Bailey. Thank you. So whatever we end up with here in the remainder spot when we finish will be our final answer. Alright, so 1 times negative 2 multiplies negative 2. Add negative 5 and negative 2 is negative 7. Multiply, negative 7 times negative 2 is 14. Add 7 and 14 is 21. Multiply, 21 times negative 2 is negative 42. add and get negative 45. So that's what I was looking for. So f of negative 2 is negative 45. Bless you. Alright, I just got one more type of problem, and then I'll give you a couple to try on your own after that. This next type, it says, my function says f of x is equal to 3x cubed minus 11x squared plus 17x minus 14. Now here's how this one reads. It's different directions. It says use synthetic division to decide whether 2 is a 0 or not. So it wants me to decide whether 2 is a 0. So that means if I wrote this mathematically, it wants me to figure out if f of 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so when we set this up, that means in my final remainder spot, I'm going to be looking for what? A 0. So if I get a 0 there, I'll say yes, it was a 0. If not, I'll say no, it wasn't. So I'll have just a plain old 2 out here. 3x cubed, negative 11x squared, 17x, negative 14. Alright, drop your 3, multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. Add, I get negative 5, multiply, negative 10. Add 7. Oh, you know the answer now. Multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. Negative 14 and 14 is 0. So is f of 2 a 0? Yeah. That's a pretty good y. I've never made a y that good. Look how straight its lines are. It's pretty good. Alright. I'm going to give you a couple to try on your own before we wrap it up here. I want you to see x squared minus 6x plus 5 over x minus 1. There's number 1 you're going to do, and then one more. A longer one on this one. X to the 6th plus 2x to the 5th minus 5x plus 11. I don't know why I put that one in parentheses, because I was weird, I guess. Divided by x minus 2. Alright, you got 2 problems to try on your own. Shh, get them going. You don't have to. It's not wrong if you do, but I'm not going to.
Right. So you can just put it like in
Right. first one was the easy one there. I've got it set up for you. Everybody got it? Did everybody set it up correctly? And make sure you got your started off right. Drop your 1 and you multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. Now I add -6 and 1 is -5, and then I multiply -5 times 1 is -5. And then when you add there, you get 0. And this is what Bailey Higgin was asking me about. When you go to write your answer, this started off as x squared, which means this is just an x to the first. So I got 1x to the first minus 5. That's how I'm writing it. Now, if you wrote x minus 5 plus 0 over x minus 1, that's not wrong. You just wrote a lot of extra stuff for no reason. Because when you do 0 divided by anything, it's 0, right? And 5 plus 0 is 0. So I'll stop here when I don't have a remainder. Now, this ugly thing over here has got a remainder, and there's also lots of zeros that you have to include. Did y'all catch that? All right. I'm going to set mine up. The box +2 will be outside. I had a 1x to the 6th, a 2x to the 5th, 0x to the 4th, 0x cubed, 0x squared, -5x, and an 11 constant. Okay, so it didn't look like it was that big, but then you were missing all those pieces in there. Drop my 1, multiply, 1 times 2 is 2, add, 2 and 2 is 4, multiply, 4 times 2 is 8, add, 0 and 8 is 8, multiply, 8 times 2 is 16, add, 0 and 16 is 16, multiply, 16 times 2 is 32, add, 0 and 32 is 32, multiply, 32 times 2 is 64, add, -5 and 64 is 59, multiply 59 times 2 is 118, I think.
Yeah.
Add, that's 129. All right, so we start off with an x to the 6th, which means my first one is 1x to the 5th plus 4x to the 4th. If they're positives, I put a plus. If they're negatives, I put a minus. Plus 8x cubed plus 16x squared plus 32x. My constant of 59, and then my remainder plus 129 over x minus 2. Ideally, that would be all in one stretch without dropping the remainder down like I did there, but I ran out of room.
It's okay.
Thanks, dude. Alright, so pretty easy review there with synthetic division. Everybody good on that? What we're going to start doing in this is solving and finding zeros, and synthetic division is one way that we can do that. So we had to have a review on just the synthetic division. Now we'll get in later tomorrow on solving and finding zeros. There we go.